he has managed to pull off a crime that was unable to be proven because he understood what a date rape drug, I mean, that wasn't a term back when all of us were dealing with this. He's created a crime where the victim can't even tell you what happened because we can't remember. So that's going to be very hard. I'm hoping that there will be somebody out there among the hundreds and hundreds of people that it took to keep this covered up over 50 years worth of his doing these crimes. It's going to take somebody who was either cleaning up the messes or driving women who were completely incompetent. We can't walk. We can't. People knew. There have been people all along who helped him with these crimes and covered them up for him.
All right, Attorney Pate joining us now to discuss this. His expertise is criminal defense. We appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to what's next, there is a preliminary date set for a preliminary hearing, and that's a couple weeks from now, and that is set to determine if there's enough evidence to go forward with a trial. And we were discussing this last hour, Michael and I. Is there going to be enough evidence, especially when you're talking about a sexual assault that allegedly happened, 14 years ago?
Right. It is always difficult to prosecute these cases if the allegations were made a long time ago or if the incident occurred a long time ago. But what's different here is the alleged victim in the case did come forward back in 2005. So it's not like she waited until 2012 or 12 years. It's the DA's office waited until now to bring the charges.
But what is the burden of proof? And again, I mean, we've interviewed women who make these allegations. It's obviously heartfelt. They feel that they were wronged, and so they should be able to feel that. But unlike other cases, you don't have a murder weapon, you don't have DNA. What is the level of the burden of proof to get a conviction?
That's a great question. I mean, you technically don't need anything more than the alleged victim's testimony. She said, he said is really all you need to get to trial. But is that enough to convict? And I think a lot of juries will often want corroborating evidence. But in this case, Bill Cosby, even back then when he was interviewed in 2005 about these allegations, he admitted to the sexual conduct. He admitted to giving her pills. The only issue was consent. So that'll be the focus of this case.
Do you expect the victim in this case, the alleged victim, Andrea Costan, to testify in this trial and perhaps other alleged victims to come forward and also take the stand?
Well, she will certainly have to testify when it goes to trial because they can't use her statements against Mr. Cosby unless she's there in court. The other people, that's an open question. In most states, anybody who's facing a sexual assault charge, any other allegations made against them can be introduced into evidence. Pennsylvania's a little bit different. They're a little bit more restrictive. So this judge will have to decide before trial, am I going to let these other people testify? I think if he does or she does, it's going to be a devastating case for Mr. Cosby.
One of the things that's fairly unique, I'm Australian, so I come from a different legal system. What's very unique here is you can pretty much discuss anything leading up to a trial. There wouldn't be many people in the US and indeed in much of the world who don't know a lot about this case already. How difficult is it going to be able to find a jury that is truly objective?
I think it's always difficult, especially when you have a high-profile case. I mean, we've seen many high-profile cases recently in the United States where everyone who's showing up to court knows something about the case. But that's not the standard. A judge has to ask a potential juror, do you not just know about the case, but have you formed an opinion? So even if you've heard about it, if you've watched the news, that's not going to disqualify you from listening to the case.
Do you expect there to be more trials or more charges from other cases? Because, again, nearly 50 women have come forward to publicly accuse Bill Cosby of sexual assault, and there is a statute of limitations which has run out for many of these cases. But do you think that there's a chance that there may be 1 or 2 or 3 more cases that pop up against Bill Cosby?
Well, my understanding is there's one other case that may fit within the statute of limitations. The statute of limitations, it varies from state to state and in federal court. So there's one other potential person that could come forward and the DA could file charges against Mr. Cosby in that jurisdiction. I think we'll just have to see.
Pate, attorney, thanks so much. Appreciate you coming in and chatting us through all of this complex stuff.
Thank you. Well, we want to turn now to breaking news, and the American mother of the so-called affluenza teen is being